It now takes $100,000 cash just for a first-time homebuyer to buy the median-priced American home. Well, when they can't afford that, they need to become renters or stay renters. That's what's happening now. That's just one of many factors as to why rents are skyrocketing in America right now. Be sure to stick around until the end of this video. You're going to see just how much rents are skyrocketing in America, and you'll learn all the factors as to why this is happening. Rents should keep rising, and this is one launched skyrocket that will probably never return back down to earth again. Hi, I'm Keith Weinhold. This is GRE. Today's smart money is in real estate. It is the best way to play against a rapidly deflating dollar and have a scarce resource like real estate. Giant real estate buyers are not dumb, so follow the money. Invitation Homes is now the largest single-family landlord in America with 80,000 homes, and they are buying thousands more just this year. BlackRock is the world's largest asset manager. They're led by billionaire Lawrence Fink, and they're now purchasing entire neighborhoods and converting single-family homes into rentals. Fundrise is doing this too, buying up entire subdivisions. Bill Gates is buying up farmland. Last year, Wall Street bought 1 in every 7 single-family homes. Is this like two worlds colliding? Wall Street and Main Street coming together? And despite all this, these players are still just a tiny part of the overall real estate market. Now, you can call these type of people and businesses whatever you want to. Call them plutocrats or tycoons or magnates or even the nouveau riche. However, we should probably retire the oligarch moniker for 2022. Really not very relatable. But you really cannot call all of this unrelatable because you can participate as well. Like them, you're enjoying the benefits of investment property, especially appreciation, income, and inflation profiting. Home price appreciation has accelerated again. Rents are skyrocketing. Inflation is 8% plus. Hey, I mean, call this the era of real estate hegemony, but let's focus on the second of these three, and that is skyrocketing rents. Single-family rents are up 13% annually per CoreLogic, and to add apartments into the mix and amalgamate this, 1-bed units are up 13% and 2-bed units are up 15%. That's per Zumper. You know, WAPO, the Washington Post, recently published a really good county-level interactive map of multifamily rent increases that you can see right here. Use your cursor to scroll across a few of these national markets so you can see how rents are moving on that county by county level. An important thing to remember is that in times of high inflation, much of this increase is not real, it is just nominal. Real means inflation adjusted. See, when you're leveraged, your 13% rent increase can be a 20 to 30% cash flow increase to you. That's the money that you feel in your pocket every month. You get that multiplier when you're leveraged and have a loan on the property because your mortgage principal and interest, your biggest expense, does not change. That stays fixed for most anyone that gets 30-year fixed interest rate debt. So with success in doing this, yes, please still refrain from that oligarch handle. But see, this is the way that it always works. Home prices run up first and then rents lag behind them. That's what's skyrocketing now. So why are rents skyrocketing now? Let's explore all 4 ways. Number 1 is low housing supply. Number 2 is higher prices. Number 3 is higher interest rates. And the 4th reason as to why rents are skyrocketing are demographics. That 25 to 34-year-old age cohort is the most popular one in America. And this is the age, and I use the phrasing carefully here, that is in prime household formation years. Not necessarily renting or buying, but when you're that age, you want to be independent. You want to have your own place. These people are in prime household formation years. It's the biggest group of people out there. That's driving the demand. Now I'm going to coalesce all 4 of these factors into one simple example that you can relate to. Let's say there's this young couple in their early 30s named the Franklins. The renters and they want to buy their first starter home. Okay, they've identified a $400,000 abode in a decent neighborhood that they want to buy. This is America's median priced home today. Well, after years of saving, the Franklins actually have the $100,000 that they need in order to make a 20% down payment and closing costs. Yep, it's a $100K hurdle just for people to get into today's median priced home. Yes, you can put less than 20% down, but a lot of people don't want to do that, refuse to do that, refuse to pay PMI, so they try to save 20% down. If they can't get that 20% down plus closing costs, that 100K, oftentimes that keeps them in the renter pool. But let's see what happens to the Franklins here. Okay, when mortgage interest rates were 4% a while ago, the Franklins qualified to buy this property and its $1,500 monthly mortgage principal and interest payment. But they kept getting outbid. They kept losing out on homes like what they want with these insurmountable all cash offers from buyers. They just couldn't compete with that. Now the Franklins still don't have their place. Mortgage interest rates are 5%, and their projected monthly mortgage payment, principal and interest, has gone from $1,500 up to $1,700 at this higher interest rate. And the Franklins no longer qualify for the place. That's what their mortgage loan underwriter has told them. Would we say that the Franklins have run out of Benjamin Franklins here? Oh, hey, that joke wasn't too cold. This is a fictitious couple. So some people, like the Franklins in this situation, will go ahead and settle for a lesser home, but a lot of them end up staying in the renter pool or being added to the renter pool. This is what drives rental demand, hence rent amounts. That's why they're skyrocketing. And this is also exactly why rent increases lag behind home prices. Hey, go ahead and put a like on this video if you like what you're hearing here. If you're a renter, maybe you don't like hearing this. If you're a landlord, you probably do, but I'd really appreciate the like for the education. Another thing to understand about rents is historically they are quite stable. Some call this condition sticky rents. They're not volatile like interest rates are or inflation is. Rents rarely fall. In fact, during the 2007 to 2009 global financial crisis and its high unemployment, when I was a landlord then, I just owned 2 modest fourplexes at that time, my rents didn't fall at all. What was going on back then is housing prices were falling. So a lot of renters were telling me they don't want to buy right now. They don't want to buy into a housing market where house prices are falling. It was also pretty difficult to get a mortgage loan back then. Both of those conditions are pretty different today. It's just to show you across eras and across what's happening with asset values, rents rarely fall. Back to today, there's this mega wonky report called A Theory of Sticky Rents. It's written by the Federal Reserve Bank of Cleveland. Well, I went in there and got all wonky for you so that you don't have to, and I distilled it down to 5 major points, 5 major takeaways as to why rents are sticky over time, why they rarely fall. The more units a landlord owns, it's more likely that they will raise the rent because vacancies don't hurt them as much. A lot of times landlords, they don't really know how much tenants like the unit, so that deters landlords from raising the rents too much typically. Landlords are hesitant to raise rates on what they call good tenants. This good tenant theory means that tenants that tend to pay the rent on time and aren't incurring high maintenance and repair costs, that's what a landlord typically calls a good tenant. And that is particularly true of small landlords. The third takeaway from that report is that rent discounts are less likely in detached units. Yeah, it's more likely that if you have a single family tenant, you're going to be able to raise the rent on them more because it exacts a greater cost on that tenant to move out of a single family home than it would on apartment dwellers. So apartment dwellers can often be less tolerant about rent increases. But you're getting rent increases on everyone now. And then the 5th and final takeaway from that report is that the biggest rent increases occur between tenancies. Imagine trying to raise the rent 25% on the same tenant you have in there right now. They're probably going to leave. But if you already have a vacancy, you can get maybe 25% more in rent, and that new renter isn't going to know or care what the previous outgoing tenant paid. Also, inflation and wage increases mean that rents rise more often than they fall. These are a whole bunch of reasons as to why now that rents are shooting through the roof, they're probably never going to fall back down to earth again. They are sticky once they hit that new higher amount. Now you know why rents are skyrocketing, why rents lag behind prices, and why rents are sticky. Hey, if you want the best best tactics for how to actually raise the rent on your tenant, watch this video up here. I give you the best tactics for how to actually raise the rent, and with higher property taxes and higher insurance payments potentially coming, you sure are going to need that. Hey, go ahead and feel free to comment below, and I'll reply Keith to your comment if I possibly can. I'd really appreciate your comment and your engagement on what you think about skyrocketing rents in America today and all the factors behind it. I'm Keith Weinhold. Thanks for being here, but you weren't here for me. You were here for you. I'll see you in the next video.